Who were the Anunnaki? Greetings and welcome to the Realm of Secrets channel. The trailer you just saw might have felt familiar, right? It's from the movie Prometheus, one of my all-time favorites. And while the engineers from that film and the Anunnaki aren't exactly the same, there are some intriguing parallels. But more on that another time, and back to the topic. This is the second video in our series titled, Who Were They? And today, we dive into the fascinating world of the Anunnaki. In my opinion, understanding the Anunnaki is essential if you're curious about ancient mysteries and forgotten civilizations. So, who were the Anunnaki? In the simplest terms, they were the ancient gods worshipped by the Sumerians and later the Babylonians. Our journey begins with the Sumerians, the civilization that left us the oldest known records of these powerful deities. And as for the topic itself, I won't bombard you with 1,001 facts and endless data. There are already hundreds of documentaries and countless books that cover every tiny detail. Instead, I'll share the strangest and most interesting information about the Anunnaki, the facts that personally caught my attention. This way, we keep it clear, intriguing, and easy to follow. So, let's start with one of the biggest questions about the Sumerians. Modern archaeology shows us that they were among the earliest known civilizations, emerging around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago in southern Mesopotamia. Their exact origins are still debated. Some scholars believe they migrated from the north and mixed with local populations, but there's no definitive answer yet. Before the Sumerians, the people living in the region were mostly farmers and small village communities. Over centuries, these groups gradually developed more complex social structures. What's remarkable is how quickly the Sumerians advanced once their civilization took shape. They invented writing, one of humanity's first writing systems, developed laws, mathematics, astronomy, built large cities, and established schools. This rapid rise of knowledge and organization is one of history's great puzzles. How did they achieve so much, so fast? That mystery leads us back to the stories of the Anunnaki, the ancient gods who, according to Sumerian legend, played a role in shaping civilization itself. The Sumerians seem to possess knowledge that far exceeds what we might expect from an ancient civilization. They understood concepts related to electricity and electrical energy. They were aware of the planets visible in our solar system, and most fascinating of all, they might have known about the mysterious star Sirius B, which astronomers only confirmed in 1862. When you compare the Sumerians to the Mayans, the difference can seem striking. Sometimes it feels like the Mayans were a more primitive society. In a video I made about the Mayans, I discussed how ancient visitors supposedly came and taught them everything they knew. A similar idea applies to the Sumerians, with one key difference. We have more detailed records and stories about the Anunnaki, the gods or beings said to have taught and guided the Sumerians. According to the ancient Sumerian records and the interpretations of Zecharia Sitchin, one of the few researchers who claimed to translate cuneiform script, the Anunnaki came to Earth around 450,000 years ago in search of valuable minerals, especially gold. Their ruler was Anu, and his son Enki served as the chief genetic scientist. Their homeland was said to be a mysterious planet called Nibiru, sometimes known as Planet X. If you've heard about Nibiru before, you know it's a topic surrounded by much speculation and mystery. I'll be covering Nibiru in a special video coming soon, so stay tuned. According to some interpretations of ancient Sumerian texts, most notably those of Zecharia Sitchin, who offered a unique translation of the cuneiform tablets. The Anunnaki were said to have created humans through genetic engineering. The story goes that Enki, one of the Anunnaki leaders, was tasked by his father Anu to create a new kind of being, a worker-slave to carry out difficult labor, especially mining. These beings needed to be advanced enough to perform complex tasks, but still less advanced than the Anunnaki themselves, so they could be controlled and treated as slaves. After several attempts, Enki supposedly succeeded in creating Homo sapiens, or modern humans. The Anunnaki leaders were pleased and sent these new beings to work in the mines. However, Enki wanted to create humans not just as workers, but in his own image, physically, intellectually, and spiritually. According to the theory, he succeeded in this as well. But the other Anunnaki were said to have been unhappy with this creation and allegedly tried to destroy it. It's important to note here that this story comes from modern interpretations and is not supported by mainstream archaeology or science. And then, a massive flood came, a catastrophic event that threatened to wipe out life on Earth. According to this theory, Enlil, one of the leading Anunnaki, grew angry with humanity's noise and disobedience. He decided they should be wiped out. But Enki, the very same Anunnaki who created humanity, disagreed. He refused to let his creation be destroyed. So he secretly warned a man named Utnapishtim, instructing him to build an ark and preserve life before the great flood arrived. Now ask yourself, does this story sound familiar? Of course it does. You've almost certainly heard it before, only with a different name. Noah. Yes, the story of Noah's Ark from the Bible is strikingly similar. But it's not just the Bible. Nearly every ancient civilization and religion has its own version of a great flood. Mesopotamia, India, Mesoamerica, China, all speak of a time when a flood reshaped the world. Coincidence? Even the story of the creation of man by the Anunnaki, made in the image of the gods, mirrors the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible. Another coincidence? Or are these fragments of a much older shared truth, or just pure nonsense? I leave it to you to decide for yourself. The ancient Sumerians believed their gods were immortal, but not in the way we think of it today. Their immortality was more about an extremely long lifespan. According to the texts, Enki led the first group of Anunnaki to Earth around 450,000 years ago, and was said to have remained here until 2024 BC. But even the Anunnaki could die. They weren't invincible. They could be killed, just like mortals. So guys, what do you say about all this? Fascinating mythology, isn't it? Let's move on. The Anunnaki were said to use spacecraft, capable of traveling from one end of the Earth to the other in a very short time. Their medicine was so advanced that, according to these ancient records, they could revive the dead. And remember, these are not modern inventions. These details come from Sumerian texts, some of the oldest writings known to man. What's even more intriguing is that other ancient civilizations describe gods with similar abilities, just with different names. There's another key detail too, one that might explain many of the ancient mysteries we still wonder about today. The Anunnaki were said to be giants, possibly much taller and larger than modern humans. Does that explain the countless myths of giants, gods descending from the sky, or beings with impossible knowledge? Some believe that the Nephilim, the mysterious hybrid beings mentioned in the Bible, may actually be descendants of the Anunnaki. In the book of Genesis, they are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Sons of God, a phrase that many interpret as referring to fallen angels or divine beings. To many, this sounds like a direct echo of something older, ancient beings mingling with humanity and I'm sure almost all of you have heard the famous story of David and Goliath, a young shepherd defeating a towering giant. Yes, it's found in the Bible. But legends of giants appear in countless ancient cultures across the world. Can we really dismiss it all as just mythology? Modern science says yes. But let's be honest, if you believed everything modern science told you without ever questioning it, you probably wouldn't be here on this channel right now, would you? Can we claim that all of this is 100% true? Of course not. We're exploring theories, ancient stories, and possibilities that challenge the mainstream narrative. But as the old saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. And right now, you're looking at the Sumerian king list, a record of kings who ruled throughout their entire history. Do you notice anything strange? The pre-dynastic rulers, the very first mythological kings, as modern archaeology calls them, had unbelievably long reigns. Just look at these numbers: 28,800 years, 36,000 years, and more. Did the Sumerians just make these up? And if so, for what purpose? I don't really know. That's something you have to decide for yourself. If our civilization collapsed today, I'm sure that in 10,000, 20,000, or even 30,000 years, a new civilization that rises here would look back at our records with wonder, and maybe consider them myths too. There's a lot more to explore on this topic, but you already know the most important parts. I wanted to introduce you to the Anunnaki with this video, because we will definitely be coming back to them again in future episodes. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss what comes next. You're here on the Realm of Secrets channel, where the truth is out there, somewhere around us. See you next time.